Hi guys, Jordan from P&P Campers. Just going to do your handover video on your VW based Autosleeper Gatcombe motorhome. So if we start under the bonnet, got your washer fluid over here on the left hand side. Power steering fluid sits here at the very front. Brake fluid just up here in this top reservoir attached to the servo. Your engine oil dipstick is this one just here with the orange top. Engine oil actually goes up in through this cap just here, and your engine coolant is this one just up here at the top. Your air filter is over here, this box just down here, and you've got like a cabin filter that just sits inside there. Your engine battery is also underneath this cover just here, so to get to that just undo this little hand tight screw and you'll be able to get to your engine battery nice and easily. Your diesel filling cap is just behind this cover just here, and you will need your ignition key to go in there and open that. And the bonnet release is this one just inside the passenger door. Right, I'm just going to switch to normal zoom now. So we got down here is your LPG, your gas locker. So you're not anything sort of too technical in here. You've got a bottle top regulator just here. And to turn the bottle on, you go anti-clockwise around to the left, like that. And to turn it off, you go clockwise around to the right. Make sure you turn this off before you start driving. But that's about it, really. Your freshwater inlet is this one just next door to that. And I'll just show you. To open that is this key just here. And you literally put the key in, turn it whichever way it will go, and then it'll come out. Just like that, nice and simple. You then got these two vents just out here, just next to the actual habitation door, which are your fridge vents. So I've got the fridge lit up on gas at the moment, and I can feel hot air coming out through this top right hand side, proving that the fridge is definitely lit up on gas. Exhaust comes all the way out of the very back of the van, which is unusual. All of the VWs come out like this, but usually the Fiats and things like that come out the other side. So just bear that in mind. You've got the awning at the top there, which I can't really show you winding out, to be honest, because I've only got, two hands, but that is up there where it needs to be. You've also got a ladder that goes up to the top of the van just here, which is obviously strong enough for you to actually climb up on if you wanted to. Then got your toilet cassette locker. So if I just show you what key that one will be. Sorry about the jet wash, a bit noisy. So it'll be this key here for that. Key goes in, and then you literally just turn it whichever way it'll go, and then that'll open up your cassette locker. There's not really a huge amount to show you in here, apart from you've got a flush fluid section at the top here. So you literally undo this and top this up as and when you need to. You will know when you need to top it up, because this little level here will start going down towards the minimum line. And when you actually empty the cassette out, you need to hold down this little yellow button down here. It's an air pressure release valve. All of this has been lubricated as part of the hab check, and obviously you drain it out from here. So that's the cassette. To actually get that to come out, you just press this button down whilst you're pulling out, and then that'll come out nice and easily. The only other thing to remember is that if you don't close the flap on the inside in the actual bathroom itself, the toilet cassette won't come out. It will lock itself in place. So I'll just show you locking that up. That locked up. Wastewater drain is just here. So if you want to drain your wastewater out, you can go from there. Your hookup point is this one just here, and obviously that'll give you access to all of your 240 volt sockets and anything that works on 240 volts, which I will show you inside. This is your boiler vent. So the hot water, which I'll show you again on the inside, is this vent just here. So if you wanted to double check that was definitely lit, you can put your hand over the top of this vent here and you'll feel hot air coming out from there. You have also got a lower locker down there, but that is just for storage really, so I don't need to show you that. In the cab, there's not a huge amount to show you. The only thing I will point out which is quite important. If you go to start the van up first off, you'll notice that you need to do this. So key goes in, you can see better through there. Key goes in, turn your ignition on, and you'll notice that nothing actually happens on the dash. That's because you need to press this Sigma button. So when I do that, all the lights come on, fuel pump starts running, and your glow plugs start to warm up. Once the glow plug light turns off, that's when you can start the engine up. So just bear that in mind, nothing will happen until you press that Sigma button. It's the same on all of the vans that have got a Sigma system plugged into it. So it just stops you. So basically if you had this off the keys, you would not be able to start the van up. So it's another sort of good safety measure to stop the thing getting nicked. The rest of the cab is pretty straightforward. You've not got a huge amount. You've just got your temperature setting on the left, fan speed setting, and where the actual fan blows the air to. Recirculate switch just there in the middle. Singled in Sony head unit up the top there. Hazard lights work from that switch there. I think that's about it really. Lights work from this switch just here. So you've got side lights and the main beam. But yeah, that's it. So I'll carry on now and show you around into the inside of the van, which is a little bit more interesting. But you know, that stuff on the outside is still important. So right, I will change over to normal zoom again so we can see a bit better. Okay, so usually control panels will be up there above the door somewhere, but in all of the auto sleep, well not all of them, but a lot of the auto sleepers, they have them just here, which I think is quite nice personally. But everything is just here, you know, well not everything, but you know, nearly everything is just here. So it's all pretty straightforward and easy to get to everything as and when you need it. So if we look here straight away, this top right hand one here is your Zig unit. So it's an auto sleeper Zig unit. So master switch on and off, obviously that's just going to be turning anything 12 volt powered will work after you turn that on. You've also got a water level reader just there to tell you how much water's in the tank. I've emptied it out, so there's not really anything in it. So as long as your master switch is on and all of these buttons down here are on, you're good to go. Anything 12 volt will then work. The only thing I'll point out, if you don't want the pump to run on, you know, if it is running on for whatever reason, the only thing I will say as well, I have written it on the habitation sheet, you do need to turn the taps off quite far to get that tap to stop dripping. The only reason I haven't sorted that out is because it's the original tap. I could take the tap out and replace it for a new one, but it would look completely different, and I don't think it would look very nice at all. So the tap works perfectly well, but you just have to turn it off quite hard to actually get it to stop coming out. So hopefully you can get on with that okay. But if not, then just let us know, we can sort that out. But I just thought I'd leave, like I said, I thought I'd leave it in there because it's such a nice original piece. I thought I'd just leave it because it still works, but it's just a little bit tighter, but that's fine. Anyway, so you've got individual things for each of these. The main one's really your lighting and then your pump. The rest of them will do stuff, but it's just, you know, so if you want to come in here and just use everything, just leave these all switched up into the upright position, master switch on, and then you'll be able to use all your lights, you know, anything dotted around the van, lights will just come on straight away. So that's that. The other thing is, if you're going to turn your master switch off, you can go around and you can choose lights. If you want to come into the van, and when you turn your master switch on, you want all the lights to come on, you can leave all the switches on, if that makes sense. Leave all the switches on, and then when you turn your master switch on, all the lights will just come on straight away. So again, that's another thing that's up to you. So okay, the other thing is, in this top right hand one, you've got this one that says at the top DC volts. So the top little gauge there between 9 and 16 is telling you that your battery is pretty much spot on. The reason it's a little bit lower than the 13 on in the green section is because there's no hookup in the van. There's nothing charging the battery right now. And I've been in here about half an hour setting it up for the video. So, you know, lights have been on, ignition's been on. So 12.5 volts or wherever that is just there, just on the 13, is actually a really, really good resting battery rate. So your leisure battery in here is very, very good. Obviously, as soon as you plug a hookup cable into the van, the charger will start to charge the battery up anyway automatically. So you'll notice when you plug in, it'll go straight up to sort of 14. And then, you know, obviously your battery level is much higher. So that's just something to point out. So that's all good. So that's those two. This one's obviously just a blank. And you've got this one here, which has Henry on it, which is your hot water. So the vent that I showed you on the outside, that sort of square vent, if I just do this now, so the first thing you need to do before you do that is make sure that you go to your tap, make sure that your pump switch is on, but go to your tap and just turn the hot water, wait for the tap to sort of run, the pump to run in, and then if the water comes through nice and clearly without any sort of big clumps of air coming out or anything like that, then you can switch that off again, make sure the pump's turned itself off, and then you can go towards this and start using this. It's a little bit more straightforward in this van, to be fair, because the only way to drain out your boiler is on the outside with the big, the bottom left hand side's got a big flathead screwdriver nut to come out, and that's the only way you can drain that one out. So unless you've done that, you can know that your boiler's full anyway, because you know it's not drained out. It's only really on the newer ones that have got automatic dropouts and things like that on them that you have to worry about that so much. But anyway, so to turn your boiler on, you literally just press the button there, green light comes on, solenoid drops out, and then just lights up straight away. So actually that's just lit already. So that's a really nice, good, strong boiler. And then after about half hour or so, or usually not even that on these on these Henry boilers, you'll have hot water at your sinks. So that's the heating, sorry, that's the hot water on gas, so I'll switch that off. Okay, so that's your control panel sort of stuff anyway. I'll just show you in the cupboard as well, because that's sort of more on that kind of note, if you like. So down here you've got a couple of things. Water heater, it says there. So basically, if you want to heat your water up via the electric hookup only, no gas, then you can literally just turn that switch on as long as you've got hookup plugged in. That'll light up, and then after about, again, the same sort of time, about half hour, you'll have nice hot water coming out your taps. Make sure that you switch this off when you finish with it, because if you forget, when you plug a hookup cable into the van and you forget that you've got that switched on, then what will happen is you'll your boiler will start to heat up the water, whether, you know, you might have emptied the boiler out for all you know and forgotten that this is on. And if it starts heating up the boiler without any water in it, you're going to start running into sort of issues like burning wires out and, you know, blowing fuses, things like that, overheating, bursting pipes, that kind of thing. So make sure that you switch this off whenever you're not using it. Really important. You then got your main trip switches. So the one on the left hand side there, your RCD, is the one that would probably trip first if anything was to plug, you know, anything dodgy was to be plugged in. But you have got also little other trip switches which do individual things. So say underneath each one of them. So main sockets, fan master. Fan master is this, by the way. But yeah, so that's that. You've also got on the right hand side here, you've got gas isolator taps. So the way they're in now is on. That's going to allow the gas to go to the appliances. But if you turn them the other way, like it says just here, you'd be isolating each appliance. So you've got heater, so space heater, boiler, and your cooker. So that's that. If you wanted to heat the van up, you can do so again via gas or electric. It's up to you how you want to do it, but I personally, these work really, really nicely on gas. That's just personal preference though. So let me show you how to use it. Really, really simple. On the left hand side here, you've got this first one here. So you see the line there is aiming towards the little 0, so the off sign. If you pull this one up, light comes on, and that's the fan. So you've got 2 blowers in the van. You've got this one just down here, and there's also one in the bathroom. And I'll just say, compared to the newer ones, compared to the newer heaters, this fan in the back of here is twice as powerful. I mean, seriously, like twice as powerful. It's blowing some serious air out of there. So as soon as you start heating this up and it starts blowing the air out, you're just going to have hot air coming through within about sort of 5-6 minutes. And then because it's not a huge fan, it'll warm up in no time. So before I show you any of that, this is all the gas, the way to use it on the gas. When you do light it up on gas, it's really important to leave the fan running for about 5-6 minutes after you've turned it off. So yeah, that's just something to bear in mind, just because these get so hot that if you don't leave the fan running for a little bit afterwards, it kind of, you know, it's just too hot really. But that's, again, personal preference. If you wanted to light the heater up on gas, all you need to do, there's a little tiny peephole right down there. You probably see it when you're actually in the van and doing it yourself. But all you need to do is turn this dial around to this red spark symbol, and the igniter will start. So I don't know if you can hear that on the video. Hear the ignition. So push down. Lights up straight away. I don't know if you can see it on the video, probably not. But basically the ignition's still going and it's lit up on the pilot. And all you need to do now is lift up and turn around to the left. So then the main flame kicks in. Ignition stops, you can see it just down there now. And then again, like I said, after 4 or 5 minutes, you'll have really, really nice hot air coming out through here. So the way you got to do it really, light it up like this and then switch your fan on. And then again, you got that air coming out through there. And after about 4 or 5 minutes, you'll have boiling hot air coming out through all those, the couple of vents. All right, so then switching it off, all the way back round to the 0, like that. And that's it, that's off. Switch your fan off. If you've had it on for a little while, leave it running for a little bit, but that's it. All right, so that's how you use it on gas. Gas on the right hand side, pilot flame on that one by pushing down and then turning it around, letting it up is the main flame. If you want to use it on electric, go to the next one. This obviously won't work at the moment because I've not got a hookup plugged into the van, but that's that. And if you want to use it on electric with the fan, you got that one, which is like a low power fan, or the next one, which is full power. All right, so essentially it's as simple as the fact that you've got a couple of elements inside there, and as soon as you choose one of these little electric symbol ones, whether it's with the fan or not, they'll just heat up and basically just start giving you hot air. It's just like an electric heater basically. So that's that. I think I've written on the actual hab sheet itself how many amps they pull. So usually they draw a fair amount of power. So if, for example, you're going to use your fridge on electric, your mains water heater, and this as well, you may have to sort of work out how many amps that is all at once, you know, compared to how many amps your pole is that you're plugged into on your campsite or whatever. Because if you start going over that, you probably trip it on the pole that you're plugged into. So it's just something to bear in mind. That's why we write it down on the sheets. Okay, so your cooker, you've got a 4-burner hob, all 4 burners at the top. And in fact, every single gas appliance in the van has got what's called a thermocouple on it. So that's this little prong of metal at the front here. And what a thermocouple does is it recognises burning gas, basically. So if I just light one of these up. So we've got that one on the back there, lit up. Thermocouple sits at the back, all right? And basically what happens is, when it recognises that the gas is coming through nicely and it's burning properly, it allows the gas to carry on coming through. If I blew this flame out now, or the wind blew it out, or whatever, what would happen is the thermocouple would notice that there's no burning gas there anymore, and that there's basically just unburning gas, you know, just pure gas, and then it would stop that gas coming through. So it basically means that if the flame gets blown out and the gas starts pumping in, it won't last long, and the thermocouple will work and stop that from carrying on. Okay, so yeah, any other thing to point out really? I mean, I don't have to show it, it just works like a household cooker. The grill switch is this one just here, and the oven one is just there. Obviously leave this open if you're going to be using the grill, but yeah, the grill pan is just down there. They probably put it down there because they do make a right racket when you're driving along. If you leave it in there, they do make a lot of noise. Not really a huge amount you can do about that, but you know, towels and things like that. But anyway, the ignition does all 4 burners, the grill and the oven, all at the same time. So if you wanted to use any of those, then you can do that. It does say on here, but I will just tell you anyway, if you've got any of these lit, obviously do not put the glass down when it's actually lit, but also make sure that you don't put it down too quickly after you've had them turned off, because if you'd be surprised how much heat they still project off after you've turned these off. The grill as well, if you've had the grill on for a little bit, don't put the lid down straight away, because the grill vents out through this hole. So, you know, if you imagine the glass is cold on the top and hot underneath, it will just shatter. So just make sure that you leave it up until this is all cooled down, and then put it down afterwards. It's not the end of the world if that does happen. Just by the way, if that does happen, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world to try and get hold of some of that glass. It's just it's obviously just annoying for you to have to to do that. So anyway, okay, so the next thing, probably the fridge. So the fridge works 3 different ways. Sorry about my stuff up here, by the way, try and ignore that. So at the minute I've got it lit up on gas, like I said, on the outside. So I can tell you that for a few reasons. The gas sort of on and off switch for the actual fridge is in the on position, where the gas symbol is pointing towards that little arrow. So if I switched it off now, ignition starts, because I've left the ignition button on, which is all you should always do. And if I push it in and round to where it was, the ignition stops straight away because it's just lit straight up. Let that out, and that's it. So that's how you light the gas up. Now that it's lit, you can turn that off if you want to, but I really would not advise you to do that, because if, for example, if you imagine, right, that you turn this off and then somehow the flame gets blown out at the back of the fridge, yeah, and you haven't turned this dial, what basically happened, like, you know, like I said to you, it's got a thermocouple as well, but what will basically happen is the gas will just carry on pumping out for however long until the thermocouple stops it, and you don't really want that to happen. So if you just leave this ignition switch on, if the flame gets blown out, it will start clicking at you, and you can hear it, and you'll go, oh, okay, that's just gone out, I wonder why that is. Usually it'll just be because your gas has run out or something like that, but it just gives you an, you know, if you just leave that button on when it's lit, like I said to you, it doesn't actually do anything, it won't come on at all. But if it goes out, you'll know about it, because that'll start clicking. So that's the gas. Switch it off, switch it off. If you want to use it on electric, you can do so on the left hand side here. So if you had a hookup cable plugged in, you click this green button just here, and after about, you know, 2 or 3 hours or so, you'll have a nice cold fridge. Obviously the 240 volt, the green switch and the gas are the 2 ways to get the fridge cold on their own. You can use them both at the same time as well, by the way, if you wanted to do that, but it's not really necessary, but you can do. 12 volt on the left hand side isn't really powerful enough to get the fridge cold on its own. So if the fridge is warm and full of warm stuff, and you start the engine up and try to use it on the 12 volt, you'll find that even if you go for a 4-hour drive, for example, it still won't be cold inside the fridge. The 12 volt element isn't powerful enough on its own. So your fridge needs to be cold, and everything inside it needs to be cold, either via the hookup or the gas first, and then switch over to your 12 volt just for when you're driving. The 12 volt switch won't do anything until you start your engine up. So if you want to, you can leave that. If you know you're going to be using it all the time, you can leave that switch on, because at the minute the engine's not running, that will not be doing anything at all. The engine needs to be running for it to to sort of fill its circuit and actually make that work. So it's up to you. All right, but that's how your fridge works anyway. So that's your 3 ways on your fridge. Let's just have a look, see if there's anything down here. I don't know if there is. Nope. I'm going to show you in there. Bathroom. I always forget that. Okay, so a couple of pretty straightforward things in the bathroom. You've got your shower here. The shower's got a little bit on it at the back, so if you squeeze that, you see the water just came out. You need to push that button in to actually allow the water to come out for the shower. Your sink, they're a bit unusual because there's no drain in the actual sink itself. The drains are one down here one down here. And so basically you just use this as much as you want, fill this up, and then just slowly lift it up and drain it down the back. And the toilet is really simple. Push the button down to get your flush fluid to come round. Turn it to open it up to allow it to go into the cassette. And like I said to you outside, you need to make sure that you close it back up again once you've used it, for two reasons. If you don't close it, obviously all your bad smells will come up into the van anyway, so you need to do that anyway by all means. But you also need to close it because you won't be able to take the cassette out from outside otherwise. So yeah, I think that's about all I can show you really. I can't think of anything I've missed. No. Okay, so if you need anything, you know, anything else covering, or you think I've missed anything out, whatever, you let us know. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Thanks very much.